What's up? A to Z Sports Live on this Wednesday. Glad to have everybody along, getting back into our sports conversation after taking the last 24 plus hours out of respect for what's happened in Nashville with the Covenant School earlier in this week. But getting into the quarterback buzz that has continued to surround the Tennessee Titans despite what Mike Vrabel said about Ryan Tannehill on Monday at the NFL Spring Owners Meeting. So, the quarterback conversation has continued. There's Ryan Tannehill. There's also several mock drafts that involve the Titans scooping up a quarterback in the first round, whether it's at number 11 overall or moving up in a trade to get one of these top 4 quarterbacks in this upcoming NFL draft that is just about 1 month away from today. So Sam Phelan, our A to Z Sports Titans reporter, in with me today, Austin Stanley. We're ready to talk about all of this quarterback buzz surrounding the Titans. We'll play the video from Mike Vrabel out in Phoenix at the NFL owners meetings on Monday, and then talk a lot about what we think about what Vrabel said about Ryan Tannehill, and then get to some mock drafts that have kind of shaken things up. There is a Lamar Jackson update. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow on a Thursday, but it's also Wednesday, which means throwing shade at the end of the show. So Sam, welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Let's get it rolling on a Wednesday. Before we start things out this morning, make sure you share the show if you're joining us. So if that's on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're on YouTube, send the YouTube link to a friend, a group chat. Just send it to a Titans fan in your life, or maybe tweet it out. And while you're on Twitter, retweet us at A to Z Sports. However it is that you found the show, that you consume the show, that's the best way to share the show and support the A to Z Sports family. Let's get as many Titans fans, football fans involved in the conversation as possible before we get things going on a Wednesday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is our Titans reporter for A to Z Sports.com, Sam Phelan. Make sure you follow us on social media because we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or simply at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, plus Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That means better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. So, Sam, a lot has happened this week around the quarterback position for the Tennessee Titans. We will discuss Lamar Jackson updates probably tomorrow on a Thursday. We'll discuss a couple mock drafts that came out earlier in this week later on today in the show. But got to start with Mike Vrabel at NFL owners meetings in Phoenix area on Monday when he met with the media and was asked about the current situation at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans.
So according to plan, do you expect Ryan Tannehill to be a starter in September?
I mean, of course. Of course we do. That's, we're in March. We're continuing to build a football team, the best football team we can. And Ryan's healthy. He's getting healthy. I would say that, he's putting the work in. It's been good to see him around the building. We always expect that. But to make predictions, I think I've been through this last year. I'm not going to commit to anybody being on our roster on September. You know what I mean? I've seen it change too quickly. And, of course, that, we want Ryan as our quarterback and everybody else that's helped us win. That's what we want.
The question, Austin, do you expect Ryan to be your starting quarterback in September if things go according to plan? That's what Paul Kaharski asked Mike Vrabel. Austin, your reaction to the Titans head coach and what he had to say at the NFL owners meetings.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Yes, they want Ryan Tannehill to be the quarterback, but, don't commit to something in March or April that will happen in September if you really don't truly know. And I thought, Sam, you had a great perspective too, with an article you were putting together for A to Z Sports.com about learning his lesson from last spring with the A.J. Brown situation, which is very clear. Mike Vrabel was very open and not exactly vague with things can change. And I learned that things can change very quickly. So I thought that was a smart way to approach it by the Titans head coach.
Yeah, I think it's the right answer, right? You don't want to commit to anything too early into the offseason. You want to see how things play out, what opportunities present themselves. And as I wrote about in that article you're talking about, like Mike Vrabel was on the Rich Eisen show this time last year, putting to bed any and all rumors that the Titans could potentially trade A.J. Brown, saying, well, as long as he's not going to be traded, as long as I'm the head coach here, as long as I'm coaching, I want him on my football team. And that looked pretty bad on both Mike Vrabel and the Titans a month later when AJ was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles on draft night. So Mike Vrabel knows firsthand how quickly things can change during the NFL offseason. That's relationships between a team and a player. That's opportunities in both the draft and free agency and the trade market and otherwise. That is the needs of other teams around the league. These things are constantly changing. And so as those things change, it's probably in the best interest of the team to approach it in a non-committal way like Mike is at this point in the offseason.
Yeah, for sure. And so that was Monday. So again, you would love for Ryan Tannehill to be the quarterback, and that is the plan. And then all of a sudden, mock drafts start coming out for the week. And we see this time of year, mock draft Monday is not just a fun alliteration thing. It's a real thing that media outlets that cover the NFL and cover the NFL draft continue to put out mock drafts each and every week. And I think, chronologically, the first one that crossed our paths, Sam, was this from Pro Football Focus of the Tennessee Titans moving up to number 8 to go get Will Levis. This comes from Brad Spielberger of Pro Football Focus. Tennessee trades number 11, their second round pick, number 41 overall, and a 2024 second round pick. And Atlanta gets the Titans to number 8, Chicago at 9th overall, and Philly at 10th overall, prime trade down spots as well. So this isn't Tennessee's jumping ahead of teams that need a quarterback necessarily. It's them boxing out teams like New England, Washington, and Tampa Bay to go get quarterback Will Levis. So that's the first one that came across our timeline. Sam, any quick thoughts on that? We'll talk more at length about the mock later on, but any quick thoughts on that one there?
Well, interesting that it wasn't just a quarterback, but it was the Titans being aggressive in a trade for a quarterback. I mean, if you're moving up to go get Will Levis, the thought would be you like him a lot. Now, Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon were both at Will Levis's pro day in Lexington. So they went and saw the Kentucky quarterback throw, saw what he has to bring to the table. But yeah, if you're being that aggressive in the draft, you are certainly let's say high on where Will Levis is on your big board. So I think it surprised me more that they were trading up to go get him than the fact that the mock draft just had them selecting a quarterback.
Yeah. So again, more buzz around the Titans and drafting a quarterback after Mike Vrabel said what he said was this coming from ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum, who we've talked a lot about over the last few weeks. The Titans staying at 11, this on ESPN.com, and taking quarterback from Florida, Anthony Richardson. And Tannenbaum says Tannehill turns 35 years old in July, and the early returns on 2022 third rounder Malik Willis haven't been encouraging. Agreed. The Titans make a lot of sense for Richardson. He has compelling upside, but needs more time to develop, and Tennessee wouldn't have to rush him with Tannehill under contract for another year. So we're going to talk a lot about these two quarterbacks in particular later on in the show, Sam. But the interesting aspect is Mike Vrabel is saying what he said about Ryan Tannehill. And then on the same day and the day after, you've got NFL mock drafts going out from Pro Football Focus and from ESPN.com, having the Titans taking a quarterback either at 11 or moving up to go get a quarterback. And so I think that's where we want to start. Let's ask you guys this question. I'll play the Mike Vrabel video one more time because the question is going to be centered around what Mike Vrabel said, right? And that question is, do you buy or sell what Mike Vrabel said this week about Ryan Tannehill? Do you buy or sell what Mike Vrabel said this week about Ryan Tannehill? Before we get to your answers, let's hear from the head coach one more time from Monday.
According to plan, do you expect Ryan Tannehill to be a starter in September?
I mean, of course. Of course we do. That's, we're in March. We're continuing to build a football team, the best football team we can. And Ryan's healthy. He's getting healthy. I would say that, he's putting the work in. It's been good to see him around the building. So, yeah, we always expect that. But to make predictions, I think I've been through this last year. I'm not going to commit to anybody being on our roster on September. You know what I mean? I've seen it change too quickly. And, of course, that, we want Ryan as our quarterback and everybody else that's helped us win. That's what we want.
Almost two parts to this, Austin, on
Yep.
the comments from Mike Vrabel, because buy and sell what Mike Vrabel had to say about Ryan Tannehill, that is both, one, the Titans ideally or expect him to be the starting quarterback in September. He said, of course we do. So do you buy that they, of course, expect him to be the starting quarterback? And then number two, do you buy that they're not committing to anybody on the roster at this point? So it's kind of a two-parter. But Mike Vrabel's looked like he struggled with that for a minute, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so let's get to your comments here in a second. Do you buy or sell what Mike Vrabel said this week about Ryan Tannehill? But first, let me tell you guys about our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go for your new ride. If you're looking for a new car, make them a part of your process. Our friend Payne Bone in Lebanon does a fantastic job with the team he's assembled at Wilson County Hyundai to help you get the right car for you, for the right financial situation, the right needs, whatever your financing needs to be. They will help you out. If you have a vehicle you're trying to trade in, they will also help you out with that trade-in option there. They've got 0% financing coming up, APR financing for several models of Hyundais at Wilson County Hyundai, including the Sonata, the Santa Fe, and the Tucson. They also have the Palisade that you see there on the right side of the graphic. That is a third-row SUV that is absolutely phenomenal and has all the luxury that you're looking for in a big-time SUV right there at Wilson County Hyundai. So go see them in Lebanon or at WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks, and you can enjoy all of your favorite sports like never before when you sign up using the sign-up code ATOZ Sports and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. When you register with BetMGM, you get access to a wide selection of live betting options, parlay selection features, player props, daily boosted odds specials, so much more. It's all at your fingertips with BetMGM. We're kind of approaching, the end of the NCAA tournament. We've got Major League Baseball right around the corner. It's a good time to get on BetMGM. So if you do it, make sure you use that sign-up code. That's ATOZ Sports and up to $1,000 back on your first bet. If it does not hit, that's the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app.
All right, Sam. So we're reacting to the quarterback buzz around the Titans this week with Mike Vrabel saying that they would love for Ryan Tannehill to be the quarterback, but they can't really commit to anything in the spring when it comes to the roster in September. So asking you guys the question, and Sam, I'll send you to the chat here in a second. Do you buy or sell what Mike Vrabel said this week about Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill? Learning from the A.J. Brown situation. So, Sam, what's the chat saying in there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch?
Is the chat buying or selling? Let's see. Chris Frazier saying both. Steven says sell. It's a trap. Xavier is going to buy. Jamar's going to sell.
What? Hold on. Time out. What is saying both to buy or sell mean? Does that mean you just don't do anything?
Well, it's a two-parter that we went over. So maybe Chris says, he's buying part of it. He's selling part of it. Maybe he believes that Mike Vrabel wants Ryan Tannehill to be the quarterback, but selling the fact that they're not committed yet. That could be. I'm trying to look out for my guy Chris here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. If you're buying and selling, what happens? You're just flipping it. You're buying it and selling it for more.
Yeah,
he
just flipped Mike Vrabel's comments and received the profit
completely.
That's a good one.
Exactly.
So
true Nashvilleian Chris Frazier just flipping stuff for profit.
Jamar's going to sell. Rooney's going to buy. Jason is going to buy, says Tannehill will be the quarterback. Scott says buy. Ken's going to buy it at a discount. So, again, hunting for those bargains and those deals here. Honky Tonk's going to sell. Steven's going to sell. Eric's going to sell. Curtis is going to sell. Buy if it means we are in love with Will Levis. Sell, says Devin. He's being political. Buy, says Alex. Sell, says Guy. What else was he supposed to say? Caleb Meadows says sell. Vrabel looks comfortable with the current state of the team. So wouldn't that be a buy? I think that'd be a buy. If he's comfortable with how things are and he wants Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback, that's a buy because he says would be very happy with him as the quarterback. That's the expectation. Jonathan's going to buy. He didn't make a commitment one way or another. Sell, but with his ego, I don't know. Buy, says Bork. Sell, says tighten up. Sell, says Nathaniel. Jay Sean's going to buy. John's going to sell. Matt's going to buy. Josh is going to buy. 60 Hustle's going to sell. Kenneth Davidson's going to buy. What is he supposed to say after last year? Stephen Bennett's going to buy. We're pretty split here. David's a sell. Charles is a sell. We got more sells coming in. So pretty split down the middle. Austin, are you buying Mike Vrabel's comments here?
Yeah, so I do think it's interesting. I think Mike Vrabel approached this conversation and this topic this offseason smarter and more experienced than the one last year. Because if you think about it, the A.J. Brown trade saga was the first time Mike Vrabel's Titans had been in a situation where you don't really go with what was expected, right? Like they didn't expect to lose AJ and all of a sudden the things changed and you had to do something, or they felt they had to do something and they did it. I think I buy what Mike Vrabel is saying. I think here's how I translate Mike Vrabel. I'm going to play the comment one more time and then I'm going to translate it into how I interpret what the Titans head coach is saying. So here was Mike Vrabel again with Paul Kaharski's question in there from NFL owners meetings on Monday.
Do you expect Ryan Tannehill to be a starter in September?
I mean, of course. Of course we do. That's, we're in March. We're continuing to build a football team, the best football team we can. And Ryan's healthy. He's getting healthy. I would say that, he's putting the work in. It's been good to see him around the building. So, yeah, we always expect that. But to make predictions, I think I've been through this last year. I'm not going to commit to anybody being on our roster on September. You know what I mean? I've seen it change too quickly. And, of course, that, we want Ryan as our quarterback and everybody else that's helped us win. Like, that's what we want.
Here's my interpretation of that comment here, Sam. The Titans and Mike Vrabel like everything about Ryan Tannehill, how he approaches the profession, how he approaches the position, how he approaches his leadership, what he does around the facility, his work ethic, his craft. They like everything about Ryan Tannehill. They've also won a lot of regular season games and a couple playoff games with Ryan Tannehill as the starting quarterback, and they like that. They think that can still work. But Mike Vrabel also wants to keep the door open for the better option or the right option. And the right option doesn't necessarily mean competing for the division in 2023 if it sets this team up the right way for Mike Vrabel's second 5 years as the Titans head coach. And so I think they would be super comfortable with Ryan Tannehill being the guy for one more year. But yeah, if the right thing comes along, whether that's Lamar Jackson, whether that's Will Levis, whether that's Anthony Richardson, whether that's somebody else that I didn't name, that they are willing to do that and they are flexible enough to do that because of Ryan Tannehill's contract, where they can save $27 million after June 1st if they feel like it. That's my interpretation. So I buy what he's saying. I'm buying it all day long.
I am going to have to kind of do the buy and sell thing because I think it depends on what piece of Mike Vrabel's comment you're buying into here. Like, do I believe the Titans are happy or okay with Ryan Tannehill being the starting quarterback? Yes, I buy that. Do I believe that the Titans are not committing to anybody on the roster at this point in time? Yes, I buy that. Do I believe that, of course, we expect Ryan to be the starter or that they want Ryan at quarterback? No, I don't. And the reason why is because you have to raise the standard. I think they recognize that. I think they also recognize it might not be possible this year, this offseason cycle, but that the change needs to happen eventually. So I agree with you, Austin. This will depend on the opportunities that become presented to the Titans. Any opportunity to move on from Ryan Tannehill at quarterback will not happen between now and April 29th. It will not. It will happen on draft night or after later in the offseason. If it is Anthony Richardson falling in the first round of the draft.
Well, by the way, draft night's April 27th.
Okay, 27th
yeah.
then.
The Thursday the 27th, April 27th. Mark it down your calendars. Sam, we're going to be alive.
That is as soon as I could see the Titans making a move at quarterback. Like, they will not commit one way or another to or against Ryan Tannehill until then. If Anthony Richardson falls and he's somebody they feel highly on, that could be their opportunity to move. If Will Levis drops and he's somebody they are high on, that could be an opportunity to move. After the draft, assuming the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes are still going on and there's still an opportunity for them to make a move on him, then it would benefit them to make those moves after the draft. So I think they are still getting a feel for what could be presented to them, what options they like or don't like. And Ryan Tannehill is, I guess, the penciled in starter right now, but he's not written in pen. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think because right now there is no obvious, this guy's a better option than Ryan Tannehill. There's just too many.
And they might have a guy that's better option than Ryan Tannehill, but you don't know if he'll be there. Like, they might love Anthony Richardson and what he brings to the table as an athlete and a playmaker and what he can do in an offense that has, that prioritizes the run game and how they see themselves building around him. But you don't know if that's realistic for you or not, because you'd hate to, get yourself down a river of saying, well, we're moving on from Ryan to go get a young quarterback and then having the guy that you want gone in the first 4 picks. So you are at the mercy of the league. You have to see how the rest of this cycle plays itself out. You might be left making a move based on what everybody else does. Oh, and by the way, we talked earlier this week about what they could do with Ryan Tannehill in terms of trade partners. You have to see where those teams are at after the draft as well before that's a realistic option.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember maybe a month ago, time is a weird situation right now, but maybe a month ago is when the New York Jets trade option kind of floated out, and that kind of opened it. We're like, oh, we never really thought about that, of what Tannehill's trade market would be. And so Demetrius says they basically on the fence about Ryan Tannehill. I mean, kinda. I mean, it's not.
I don't think they're on the fence at all. I think they know what he is. They know how they feel about him. Now it's a wait and see on if they can get something better.
I agree, and it's the interesting aspect is the going into last year of Tannehill's contract, and like we know, and I'm going to go ahead and show this graphic that we're going to continue to have here in the holster on Ryan Tannehill's financial situation, that if you keep him, you save zero and you pay him $36.5 million on the salary cap. If you flat out cut him before June 1st, you save $17.8 million. If you trade Ryan Tannehill, then the other team will pick up that $27 million in his base salary for this upcoming season. And you would expect that team in a trade to probably extend Tannehill's contract once they acquire him. And so I think that is the kind of the interesting, domino or nugget or what nuance to this situation is the Titans have some flexibility because of the last year of the contract, and that they can do whatever they think is the best, but they have the ability to be patient with it and wait to see what comes to them because they don't need to be aggressive when it comes to Ryan Tannehill's situation. You have him. He's yours. You're comfortable with it. You know you can win games with him healthy. So it's just, is there a better option? So, Sam, anything to add to that before we flip gears? Because I think
we're both on the same page here, but I think that this is the important nuance to keep in mind when you're like just looking at this Titans quarterback situation. I think too many people are trying to put them in a box one way or another. Well, do they like Ryan? Do they not like Ryan? Are they getting younger or staying competitive? And I think the true answer is somewhere in the middle where they're trying to do both at the same time. And so you have to get better at wide receiver. You have to get better around the quarterback position. And then, of course, even if it's not a rookie, the Lamar Jackson thing is a completely different conversation, which we will have tomorrow. Yep. I will be writing about today on A2Zsports.com on what it would take for the Titans to get the former NFL MVP in two-tone blue and kind of what that would look like.
Ooh, I like that. Tiffany says, good morning, gents. Sorry you're late. No worries. Welcome in to the show here. And then I did see this. Where'd it go? Oh, Titanium Titan says J-Rob and his contracts. Yes, you can say John Robinson in those contracts for a lot of different Titans who are under contract or Titans who have been cut this offseason by Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. But honestly, like the Ryan Tannehill contract is not that bad. What made it more difficult was the restructure that Ryan Tannehill got to allow for Julio Jones to be acquired a couple of years ago that made it more expensive than it would have been. But Ryan Tannehill's contract that John Robinson gave him after the AFC Championship run was a very good quarterback contract for the Titans, and it allows them to have this flexible opportunity this offseason going into last year.
Well, and this is the good thing about the National Football League for owners and teams is the non-guaranteed contract format allows you to, yes, sometimes get, basically trapped by contracts, but for the most part, you can get out of them and get out of your cap trouble pretty quickly. I mean, I just pulled this up right now while you were speaking, Austin. Over the cap as of right now, the Titans currently are projected to have $127 million in cap space for next season. Like that is
how many players are under contract.
Fair, right? It's not a lot,
but that's on purpose too, right? Especially the guys that Rand assigned this offseason.
Right. So that's the reason why you have so much money available is because you have very limited guys under contract. But I think that is, again, by design, where if you're Rand Carthon right now, this season, you can kind of do whatever you want to try and set yourself up best for next season, whether that's Ryan Tannehill or somebody else. But your money is going to become available. So like, I hear this with the Lamar Jackson thing all the time, which again, I will be writing about later today, but these contracts do not have to have that big old cap hit on the first year of the contract. You can put that next year, the year after when more money is available. And then you are now building a roster around that contract already being in place instead of trying to fit it into your current cap constraints.
Yeah, I did see Pastor Raymond Little says Rand is going to go get Trey Lance. Actually, we will have an article later on this week about how Trey Lance could impact the Titans quarterback situation, but it doesn't have as much to do with Trey Lance. So we'll be keep an eye out for that. And that's I'll tease that. You teased us with your piece about Lamar, saying I'll throw one right back at you with something that you actually don't even know about yet. But
this is the first time I'm hearing of that.
I'll loop you in after the show. Yeah, I'll loop you in after the show. Evan and I were working on this yesterday, so we'll talk about that maybe later on in the week overall. So I do have Nathaniel's super chat that I'm going to get to, but it goes along with where we are going next with this conversation, and that is the two mocks that were projected to the Titans this week. We have first the trade up for Will Levis at number 8. This coming from Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger, has the Titans sitting number 11 and a second rounder this year, 41, and next year's second to Atlanta for the number 8 overall pick. And Spielberger says that Chicago at 9 and Philly at 10 are prime trade down spots. So Tennessee isn't jumping ahead of a quarterback needy team. It's trying to box out and rebound outside of New England, Washington, and Tampa, who we all talked about on Monday when it came to quarterback desperate teams, to go get Will Levis. There's also this mock coming in from ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum on Tuesday, having the Titans sitting at 11 and taking Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida, at 11th overall, maybe dropping a little bit. Tannehill turns 35 years old in July. Early returns on Malik Willis haven't been encouraging. The Titans make a lot of sense for Richardson, compelling upside, but needs more time to develop. And with Tennessee, wouldn't have to rush him with Tannehill under contract for a year. So this would have Tannehill staying for another year in that situation. So here's the question we want to ask you guys now. Which quarterback would you prefer the Titans draft? We're just going to keep it to these two, Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. Which of the two quarterbacks we just showed on the screen would you prefer the Titans draft? Would it be Will Levis from Kentucky or Anthony Richardson from Florida, two SEC East products? But first, let me tell you guys about our great friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, whether it's just life in general, walking around, you fall, you bump into something, you're just getting old and things start to break down, you need someone you can trust to get that right again, to continue to live your long and healthy life. And the Bone and Joint Institute, they have that for you. They've got the specialists there in Franklin to make you get right back to health, and they do it all in convenience for you under one roof. So make sure your son or daughter getting hurt playing youth sports, college sports, intramural sports, rec sports after school, they can take care of them as well with their sports orthopedics program. So check them out right there at boneandjointtn.org.
Listen, today is the day to get with the king of sports books. They're powering today's show. It is BetMGM. And if you sign up using the sign-up code ATOZ Sports, you can get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So you can get access to live betting options, parlay selection features, player props, daily boosted odds specials. You've got all of it at BetMGM. So go ahead, get the BetMGM app, sign up using that code. That's ATOZ Sports and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
All right, here live on this Wednesday, maybe we can have a competition with a magic bucket of who can say the BetMGM disclosure cleaner and faster between me and Sam. I've got a lot more reps. I've got a lot more reps with that.
Yeah, I did the alphabet well, but you've got that thing down like an auctioneer, man. You have
I've done it a lot. Now, yeah, they did change it in January, which really made me have to rethink some things in my brain. But anyway, all right, let's get to this again. Which of these two quarterbacks recently mocked the Titans would you prefer in the draft? We've got right here, we've got the Will Levis projection from Pro Football Focus, where the Titans move up a few spots to number 8 with Atlanta to get Will Levis, and that gives up this year's second and next year's second. And then you've got Anthony Richardson, the Titans staying at 11 to get Richardson, who by every metric was the most athletic quarterback and really the most athletic NFL combine participant in the history of the NFL combine with how he tested. So there is that. So Sam, I'll send you back the chat. What do you think? What do the chat think about which of these two quarterbacks they would prefer in the draft?
Now, again, I better not see Bryce Young or CJ Stroud comments.
Yep.
This is under the assumption that the first and second overall pick are going to be Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. So this is potentially a quarterback that falls out of that top 4 or 5 picks, and the Titans can either get at 11 or maybe jump a few spots and go get one. So Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. Let's see. We've got Richardson from Bama Brad, and Mr. Jones is already in wanting Hendon Hooker. Break that here. William Young wants Richardson. Troy Anderson says AR Anthony Richardson. Tyler Ross says Richardson. Daff says Richardson. Demetrius says Richardson, not even close. Anthony Richardson, he's a Rand Carthon guy, says Steven.
How is he a Rand Carthon guy? Just because they both went to Florida?
Perhaps. I would assume that that's what he's going for.
Yeah,
there,
but like Rand Carthon played at Florida under Ron Zook, who is several head coaches and several athletic directors removed from the University of Florida. I don't doubt that Rand's got connections to Florida, but I wouldn't read too deep into that.
All right, let's see. We've got another call for Hendon Hooker to be the draft. We've got a lot of neithers and nopes here. We got Craig saying Richardson, Xavier saying AR. I think he has more upside. David Brown wants Levis. Albert Martin says Anthony Richardson. Joey says Richardson. Jermel says Richardson. Paulie D says Kentucky guy. Will Levis. Ed Rogers wants AR-15. Anthony Richardson. Kalman says he wants Richardson. Stephen King says Richardson. Neither, both are duds, says JR. Steven Rodriguez says Will Levis 24/7. Alonzo says Richardson. Darius Richardson. Jacob and Dylan both on Richardson. Titanium Titan with the UK profile picture says Will Levis. So no shocker there. Pistol Ramsey says neither one, but if so, Richardson. Same with Chris, same with Brad, same with Hunter. Nate's on Will Levis. Nick has Will Levis saying Richardson barely had a 50% completion percentage in college. Orlando is on Will Levis. Clayton says neither, but I would say Richardson due to athleticism. Mike Jones is on neither. So guys on Levis, Jamar's on Richardson. Austin, I think I know your answer to this.
You do.
You probably don't like either one of these guys because
you think okay. I'm just
this
curious.
Is hilarious for me to just sit back and watch like largely a fan base comprised of Tennessee Volunteers fans having to decide whether they want the Kentucky or Florida quarterback. That's pretty entertaining.
I do think, look, and I heard you on the Tighten Up podcast with Jack a few weeks ago. Talking about the crossover between Titans and Vols. There is a big crossover between Titans and Vols fans, but it's not like as big of a percentage as I think you feel like it is, especially on the internet.
True, but I feel it.
There is one, but I also think Titans fans who are also Vols fans understand what Tennessee players are in the NFL and what Tennessee players have been with the Titans, and also know that, hey, Javon Curse came from Florida and was absolutely a, no pun intended, freak. And that the Titans have drafted players or had players out of all types of different schools, like Alabama with Derrick Henry, and I've loved it. Or Wesley Woodyard. How about a Kentucky Wildcat that's done a lot of good things with the Tennessee Titans like Wes did? Bud Dupree, maybe not so much. So look, I don't think it matters. Is it a good marketing idea? Would it be good for the Titans to be able to have a Tennessee Vol to market like that? Sure. But I don't think it matters when it comes to the quarterback. My answer, Sam, on this is I would rather have Will Levis than Anthony Richardson. I honestly don't give a damn about Anthony Richardson's broad jump, Anthony Richardson's high jump, Anthony Richardson's unbelievable times. Like, I think with quarterbacks, you need to have an athletic threshold. And as long as your athletic ability is above that threshold, then it's fine. Like, good. But like the fact that he is like one of the most elite athletes who has tested at the combine doesn't mean anything towards playing quarterback in the NFL. It's cool. He could make some incredible plays. And I think we've seen him make incredible plays. The Utah game several times this past year. He had a great game against Tennessee in Knoxville last season. But again, like, I don't care about the elite aspect of athleticism. He's plenty athletic. Will Levis is also very much plenty athletic. And so what's the difference in Levis and Richardson? I do think Will Levis is more NFL ready to play now. I think Will Levis while maybe he has a slightly lower ceiling than Anthony Richardson, his floor is so much higher than Anthony Richardson. So I would rather have Will Levis than Anthony Richardson. I think if I go ranking these 4 quarterbacks, I'd go Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, 1A, 1B, flip a coin. I like both of them. Then I would go Levis, and then I would drop down a bit and go Anthony Richardson if I was picking a quarterback in the first round.
I am very much in the other camp here. I'm an Anthony Richardson advocate, big time. I actually disagree pretty heavily with the notion that Will Levis has a higher floor than Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson has a higher floor by a mile, and the reason why is because of the athleticism, which I do care about. You have seen players in today's NFL, namely Lamar Jackson and my guy in Chicago, Justin Fields, that have been able to take over games with their legs. Like, I don't care how you move the football down the field as long as you move it down the field. And the one thing I know I'm getting out of Anthony Richardson is an explosive runner that can take over a game with his speed and athleticism from the quarterback position. So yeah, there are things that the Titans prioritize in quarterbacks that they have said publicly, things like accuracy, poise, anticipation. I think Anthony Richardson's very poised. He is not the most accurate or anticipatory passer. Neither is Will Levis, if we're going to be quite frank about it. But at least I know that this guy has a phenomenal build with some poise and just athleticism that can change a game. That, to me, at the very least, has him as a productive quarterback in the NFL. And if he figures out how to patch up some of his anticipation and accuracy issues that he showed at Florida, then he becomes a generational type of talent that can really take over the league. So I am all in. Like, I really like Anthony Richardson, and I was not sold on him coming out of Florida. But the more that I have seen of him, both showcasing his arm strength and obviously his game-changing athleticism, it can't be overlooked.
So do you like I'm going to ask you this pretty directly. Do you like the idea of this from Mike Tannenbaum of the Titans? If Richardson falls, the Titans take him at 11. I'm not, I don't think he's going to fall to 11. So I guess a two-parter. Do you like the idea of this, Anthony Richardson at 11? Do you like the idea of the Titans maybe moving up to 8 for Anthony Richardson if he falls there? Like, how do you feel about that aspect of this? You can like Anthony Richardson as a prospect, but do you like him as a prospect for the Titans to draft in the first round?
I do not like the idea of the Titans moving up for a quarterback unless it's CJ Stroud. I have been I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I don't think it's particularly close. I would take CJ Stroud. I'd run to the podium to take him over Bryce Young. And I think the Houston Texans, frankly, are quite silly for letting themselves get jumped by a team who's now going to take CJ Stroud and leave them with Bryce Young at number 2 overall, in my opinion. But I do like Anthony Richardson for the Titans in this year's draft because I believe nothing is more important than getting the quarterback position right. And if the Titans can do that in this year's draft, they need to. So whether that is him playing behind Ryan Tannehill for one more year or just throwing him into the fire this year, letting him learn and develop with potentially Derrick Henry in the backfield alongside him, I'm not sure what that looks like. But I believe in the prospect, and if Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon like him enough too to draft him in the first round, I like him even more. So, yeah, give me Anthony Richardson in the first round. I think you're starting to see that this is how the NFL is moving. These athletic QBs having a second dimension to their game that are not just mobile enough to pick up a first down when they need to, but mobile enough to break out a 75-yard touchdown run makes offenses so much more explosive than you would think, and you rely on your offensive line a lot less and wide receiver separation a lot less because you're always thinking about the guy under center. Will Levis's ceiling is Josh Allen, right? I mean, that's the physical comp for the big arm, big guy that has had college accuracy issues and played behind a bad offensive line, but can throw the ball 75 yards and just has a huge physical stature. That is the comp for what you hope he develops into being. Now, Josh Allen took a lot of nurturing and development to get to that point. I think Anthony Richardson's ceiling, if he figures out the passing element of his game, is not something we've seen yet.
I think Anthony Richardson's ceiling is Josh Allen. And as Chris Frazier says, Josh Allen is elite.
Anthony Richardson's a lot faster and way more athletic than Josh Allen, who's a freak athlete in his own nature.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about from the passing angle, like Anthony Richardson, I just don't know if I trust the ability to develop from a passing standpoint for Richardson because of what we've seen not work in the NFL from that. Like Lamar Jackson, like people are saying like Lamar Jackson was this unbelievable athlete, but he also won a Heisman Trophy. Like Lamar Jackson was way different and way more productive in college than both of these dudes, right? And it worked for the Baltimore Ravens. They moved back up in the 32nd overall pick in the first round, that draft, to get Lamar Jackson, who was the 6th quarterback taken in that draft, and it worked. And now they got to figure out their other situation. And Jeff Rubel says Lamar was way more accurate. Yeah, Lamar was an absolute like prime time ticket and prime time viewing spot to watch at Louisville when he was there and won the Heisman Trophy and did it by himself. Like Louisville didn't have a ton of talent. Like Kentucky doesn't have a ton of talent. This era of Florida is not what we expect from Florida. Typically, I just don't think I trust that Anthony Richardson will put all those ifs together. And I think Will Levis is more of a ready guy right now, and Will Levis battled through injuries. Now, their numbers from this past season are very identical from a passing standpoint, but you have to take into account of Will Levis's lack of weapons, lack of protection, and just his injuries that he had over the season, where Anthony Richardson was healthy and had better surrounding pieces than Levis did, and they were still about the same. And I just don't think Anthony Richardson is a smart pick for this team right now.
I think so. Those are good points, right? Because both Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields and these guys that I've used as like comps for potentially what Anthony Richardson's transition into the NFL looks like in terms of an athleticism standpoint, those are guys that were prolific passers at the college level that have then used their legs a little bit more since going pro. This is a point, though. Like Bork says, did Sam just casually say if AR figures out how to be a quarterback? No, I don't believe I did say that. I said if he figures out the passing element of his game, and this is
deal, though.
Right. But so this is my point, and maybe I'm just like the hot take on this one. I think how the definition of how to be a quarterback and how to play quarterback is evolving and changing. And sitting back in the pocket and making like a throw in between two safeties and threading a needle and anticipating a defense, while is a good trait to have, yes, at the NFL level, of course, I don't think is the end all be all for how to play quarterback in today's league. You are going to need somebody, like I said, who can move the ball by any means necessary. And what we have seen is, one, a good scheme and good wide receivers can get open and a quarterback's job becomes that much easier. But what can they do with the ball in their hands? So I don't think that a guy's ability to sit back and pass is the only a pass with an extreme accuracy is the only factor for how to be a quarterback in today's NFL. And I think as the years go by, that's going to continually adapt and change. And it will be the guys who are athletic enough to do something on their own that will continue to excel. That's my opinion on the position.
I think Justin Fields is making you drink that Kool-Aid right now as a Chicago Bear fan and native.
But why not? Like, I mean,
But because it like how sustainable is it, right? Because Justin Fields had a phenomenal year running the football, but the Bears were still the worst team in the sport. And not all because
and
of
for the
Justin Fields.
last
I
9
understand that.
weeks, the Bears had the highest ranking offense in the sport.
I
They
I,
just
I
gave up
understand
40
that.
points a game. So I
Yeah,
mean, like, if you can score points, I don't really care how you do it. And Lamar Jackson's a prime example of somebody who has been, ripped for his inability to pass. He hasn't been given weapons at the professional level. Even somebody like Jalen Hurts, who was an athlete first, that they questioned his passing accuracy and ability, was given elite weapons around him and has found a way to incorporate some big plays into a run heavy offense, and
yes.
they're dangerous.
But Jalen Hurts did a very good job of developing his game as a passer, which I think Jalen Hurts has been the outlier when it's come to that recently, of developing that much as a passer quickly. A couple super chats here. Kane says he goes with Richardson easily. Can you imagine the plays a team can come up with Anthony Richardson and Willis on the field together? Crazy possibilities. I mean,
Okay,
yeah, I guess.
I'm not down on the two quarterbacks on the field thing.
Yeah, I mean,
We saw enough
this
of
is
that.
not flag football where you can play in a men's league flag football league and have a 3-quarterback flag football system. If anybody's familiar with that, Eric, another lunch money says Richardson is like getting a car from Wilson County Hyundai, and Levis is like getting a car from a hole in the wall dealership. So Eric goes with Anthony Richardson. Sam, what were you going to say?
Well, I think this is a point. Like, I believe this. I know you might not, but Valentino says no, Austin. He just has got weapons. That is really what I believe about Jalen Hurts as well. Like, I think Jalen Hurts did grow. Yes. I have been a Jalen Hurts believer since day one. I wanted everybody in on him in the first round of that draft, and they did not. And I pulled out the receipts during the NFC Championship game of me saying, like, remember this pick by the Eagles. He'll be playing in a Super Bowl for them someday. So I was a big Jalen Hurts fan at the time, but I think what they showed you is if you can protect a quarterback and you can get him weapons downfield, you can mask a lot of a guy's imperfections as a pinpoint accurate passer in the league. Yeah. So his ability to make plays, make the right throw at the right time, and then just like do things himself to be a threat with the ball in his hands has proven to be more dangerous for him. So I think the biggest part of his development was Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown becoming a part of that offense.
Nathaniel says, another lunch money says, draft the top QB, release Tannehill. If QB doesn't produce this year as a rookie to the liking and the record is bad, draft the dog next year with a good backup. And you're taking a lot of swings right there, Nathaniel. Then Nathaniel also adds that he sees it this way. If a top quarterback is there, take him, including Hooker in the second round, then trade Tannehill after June 1st and add pieces with the money. So I think Nathaniel's going all in on the try to find a quarterback at whatever cost necessary. And so, I don't think you should take a quarterback with your first and your second round pick in the same draft. I think, Washington did it interesting several years ago, over 10 years ago, when they took, RG3 number 2 and took Kirk Cousins in the 4th round, and they had a quarterback there. But, I'll say this on the Hendon Hooker situation. I would rather draft Hendon Hooker 41st overall than I would Anthony Richardson in the first round.
I see that, like, and I like Hendon Hooker, but that doesn't make sense to me for the reason, like, I don't think you can take too many swings at quarterback. Like, I think you have to get the position right. And if that means taking a guy this year and it doesn't work, and you give him another chance next year and it doesn't work, then you have to draft another guy, then that's what you have to do. But I don't believe in doing like the half-hearted, we're going to draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round and hope that maybe this is the guy. I'd rather swing and miss than take one looking.
Yeah, you have to take swings. And I don't think Malik Willis he was a swing. I think he was a miss. I don't think he's a starter in the NFL in the foreseeable future. So, you do have to figure some things out when it comes to that. But again, we're going over, and I think it was Damon asked, why are we talking just Levis and just Richardson? To wrap up here, that's because Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger has the Titans mocked moving up to 8 to get Will Levis out of Kentucky, trading with the Falcons. And then ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum has the Titans taking Anthony Richardson out of Florida at number 11. Both of those mock drafts came out Monday and Tuesday, respectively. And so, all this quarterback buzz is happening. And to go back to the very beginning of the show, Mike Vrabel saying, like, yeah, I'd love to have Ryan Tannehill as a starter in September, but I learned last year you can't just say things like that in the spring about something that could happen in the fall. So, that's kind of the entirety of this, is that there's a lot of conversation around the Titans at quarterback, whether it's draft picks or whether it's Lamar Jackson that we'll talk more about tomorrow on a Thursday. And then Ryan Tannehill is still currently penciled in on this roster with a pretty big cap hit. So any last conversation thoughts about this here today, Sam?
No, I mean, I think we covered it all, right? I think that the Titans, and this has been the story of the whole offseason, are just in a very unique position, kind of being able to adapt and move based on what the rest of the league tells them to do. So we might not get the answers to this, like I said, until April 27th, draft night. But when the first round comes along and Anthony Richardson is available at pick number 8, you're going to find out pretty quickly about what the Titans think of Ryan Tannehill and what they think of some of these QB prospects and potentially what they think of Lamar Jackson. So this is going to be a situation that keeps us on the edge of our seats and will no doubt produce a lot more of like interesting quotes and storylines to follow as the offseason plays itself out.
All right, Sam, let's wrap up this Wednesday show with Throwing Shade. Again, we'll talk about Lamar Jackson. That's our plan, at least for right now, to talk about Lamar Jackson and some comments on ESPN from earlier in the week about he and the Titans potentially there. We'll get to that tomorrow and also have Sam's article for later on today on A2Zsports.com. But it's time to throw some shade. So get your shade in the chat. We'll get to it here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. They can help you out with all the resources they've had over the last 75 plus years, helping Tennesseans find the right health coverage and the right plans for you, for your family, for your situation. They can help you out. Senior citizens out there that need that extra care as they enter that stage of life. Farm Bureau Health Plan specializes in that. So check them out /ATOZ. If you're a young adult trying to enter the young adult professional world, maybe you're trying to start your entrepreneurial journey and you're self-employed and you're like, holy crap, that other option for my health coverage is very expensive and I don't really get a lot. Well, Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out not be super expensive and get a lot more. Zach Bingham did that just a year or so ago, saved 20% on his health coverage and got better coverage. Now he gets contacts. He gets dentist cleanings included in that where he did not before, and he's paying 20% less every month for it. So they can help you out like that. It's very easy to do it. FBHP.com/ATOZ. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans, FBHP.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sports books. And if you sign up using the sign-up code ATOZ Sports, you see it down there, the bonus code ATOZ Sports, you can get up to $1,000 back on your first bet if your first bet doesn't win. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. When you bet with BetMGM, there was a reason I use them, reason Austin uses them, there's a reason Zach uses them, and we like to have some fun with BetMGM because when you sign up, you get access to a wide selection of live betting options, daily boosted odds specials, parlay selection features, player props, all of it. So make every game and every play mean that much more with BetMGM and BetMGM.com, the king of sports books. Take it away.
Throwing shade on this Wednesday. Get your shade in there. We do this every Wednesday. And I do think, today's shade, I need to say and set a precedent with it. Let's keep it respectful. I know just the last, 2.5 days, especially in Nashville, there has been a lot of people hurting and feeling things. And so let's try to keep our shade light and fun. Because the point of throwing shade is the inconveniences in life that kind of bother you, that aren't that big of a deal, that we can have fun with. Throwing some shade. So guys, get your shade here in the chat. Mr. Jones starts us off. Shade on the draft experts pushing trash QBs just because they have a good workout. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think NFL draft experts are trying to do a job that's very difficult to do, even from the NFL general managers and the NFL scouts. And so I just think evaluating quarterbacks is one of the harder things to do when it comes to pro sports evaluation. So, but there's Mr. Jones' shade right there on that. So, Sam, what is your shade today on this Wednesday?
I have two shades.
Okay.
So the first one, this is my original shade that I thought of because this is the daily struggle for me. I'm going to throw shade at the YMCA of Green Hills.
Okay.
Because that is the gym that I get my workouts in at, where I try and do some recovery in at, get a good sweat at. And if anybody else is familiar with the YMCA of Green Hills, over the last 6 months or so, they've transitioned to a new renovation model that the sauna at the gym facility is probably no bigger than this little box that surrounds my desk here. And it is a co-ed facility-wide sauna that probably seats about 4 people, if we're going to be honest. And it just annoys me every day. It only gets up to 145 degrees, so it doesn't even really reach full sauna temperatures. And it isn't what I signed up for. It isn't what I need. So shade on the YMCA of Green Hills. And my second shade here, this is one I feel really strongly about as well. Shout out to all the haters of mid-majors and mid-major madness, and shade and shame on them, because Austin, we are on the verge of the first ever college basketball triple crown. And if you don't know what I'm referring to the lovely Conference USA, which had the University of Charlotte win the CBI, has both UAB and North Texas in the championship game of the NIT, and Florida Atlantic in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. It would be the first time in the history of college basketball that the same conference has won all 3 postseason tournaments. So shout out and shade on the mid-major haters, because Conference USA is doing something special this March.
Now FAU has a lot to do to get that right.
I'm riding with FAU, man. I want the triple crown. Give me Jelly Walker and UAB in the NIT championship game. I do like my North Texas Mean Green as well. I do support them, but give me UAB, give me Charlotte, give me FAU. Let's sweep the whole thing and then leave the ACC and the SEC and all these power conferences just in shambles. Notice I didn't mention the Big Ten, but
there you go. All right. So I was going to ask you before I get to my shade, what is the appropriate sauna temperature? Because I'm not sure.
I like it at 190. It is where I prefer my sauna, 185 to 190. But it has to be over 175 to really start getting the juices flowing. But yeah, 145, 150, it just doesn't cut it. And I've been very underwhelmed by the sauna temperatures. But
there you go.
Well, I'm probably the only one that cares. So,
well, it's that's what throwing shade's for. It's for what you care about that's driving you crazy and bothering you right now. My shade, Sam, is on a specific outlet that is continuing to dump on the women's NCAA tournament. And so I saw this, and the name of the outlet starts with an O. That's all I'm going to say. And they started by saying this, last week at one point, by showing that ESPN.com has their number one article spot on their website was about the women's NCAA tournament on ESPN.com last week. And they talked about how ridiculous that was and nobody cares, but ESPN's pushing the women's NCAA tournament. Well, what do you know? When it comes out that Iowa beating Louisville in the women's NCAA tournament drew more viewers than any NBA game on ESPN all season, showing that people and ESPN viewers do watch and do care about the women's NCAA tournament, this outlet spun it in such a dirty way to say, no, this just proves that people love basketball, but don't want to watch the NBA because it's woke. Like, that is the most ridiculous double down, triple down on a stupid narrative that you can go with. And I think it's so dumb and it's so just gross and made me cringe this morning when I saw that. You know, it was a top story in ESPN.com because it was the top story of the day, right? That makes sense. Like, there's an algorithm that goes with that shows what people are interested in. That's why they put it there. And then by saying, oh, more people watch that women's game than any NBA game on the same network all year. I mean, come on, guys. That's just so ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, if it's not something you're interested in, don't watch. I mean, but like, and I'm not, an avid, women's college basketball fan. I don't watch a ton of them, but I was kind of excited for that game. And it's mainly because, the NCAA and both of those programs, Louisville and Iowa, have done a tremendous job of marketing their big players. And I was like, Haley Van Lith versus Caitlin Clark. That's fascinating. And that's fun. I kind of want to see what happens there. And I mean, Caitlin Clark also had 41-point triple-double, and was shooting 70% from the floor. So she just, I've seen her highlight tape I'm just she can shoot it from anywhere. It's probably going in. But yeah, it's one of those games. It was a very cool, fun game with two star players that are, big stories in college sports in general right now. So yeah, it should be on the front page of ESPN.
So that was my story.
I respect it. It.
That's my shade on this Wednesday. So, hey, great show here on this Wednesday, talking Titans quarterback buzz. We will continue that quarterback buzz by most likely discussing Lamar Jackson and the latest around him tomorrow when it comes to the Tennessee Titans and a certain ESPN analyst saying, yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. But before you head out, make sure you give that show a like the show before you go. That thumbs up. We'd appreciate that greatly. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, I guarantee there are more people watching right now than have actually hit that thumbs up like button. So do it for us before you head out of here. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on a Thursday. Buck Rising live today, 615 sessions at 2 p.m. Central. And then later on, Buck will be live for A to Z Sports Primetime at 8 p.m. Central. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it as always.